Father Blake Dubrock. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Vocation Director and Director of Seminarians for the Diocese of Lafayette. I live here at St. Bernard Parish, but I'm not really assigned here. I was a year ago, but I'm not here anymore, so you may see me around a lot. What I wanted to do today, prior to Mass, and we're not going to make Mass last extra long, but I wanted to get vested before you. I wanted to put on the garments of the priest as we walk in and as we prepare, because as you pay attention to the first reading today, you're going to see that Paul, talking to the Ephesians, those Christians, talks about putting on this armor, this breastplate, this symbolic notion that we are going to battle every day against the temptations of the flesh, against all the temptations that evil spirits prowl about the world, but we have an ability to protect ourselves with Christ. And so I want to go through the vesting prayers that we pray every day as we go on and kind of explain a little bit of that. Mass is going to be as normal after I get vested, and then we'll go back around and start as normal, and the homily will be a little extra shorter this week for you guys. But I think it's important for you to kind of see those things, and the seminarian, Mr. Trey, is going to help me with that. The first thing I put on is called an amice. I put it on my head, and then I put it around my neck to kind of cover up the whole garment, and I'm going to say the prayer. Say, place on me, O Lord, the helmet of salvation, that I may be protected from the assaults of the devil. So every day I put on this helmet, right, as a protection, to clear my mind, that I may think and pure, generous thoughts of others. Because if not, you know your mind gets filled with things that aren't good, right? Our minds get filled with things that may distract us from the glory of God. So I have to ask for that particular protection. This amice, right, it's meant to cover kind of the whole of the garment of the black that I wear. It was made for me by a sweet German lady from Rhine area, Roberts Cove, a good friend of mine. She passed away about a year ago, but she made all of the vestments you'll see here that I have. This is called the owl. So it's a white garment that even the Old Testament priests would walk into the Holy of Holies and put on as a sign of their purity. When you got baptized, you were baptized and you put on a white garment to recognize that you were washed in the blood of Christ and that His blood purified you in totality. I'll say, cleanse me, O Lord, and purify my heart, that washed in the blood of the Lord, I may enjoy eternal delight. What happens, even on funerals, we do a lot of funerals here, when the body comes in, we place this white pall, it's called, on the casket. That pall is a sign of your baptismal garment. So we're reminding, right, everyone and God, remember, you baptized this son and daughter of yours in your own blood. Remember the purity for which his soul desires, or her soul desires. When a priest dies, they don't put the white pall over our casket because we have this on as a symbolic reminder of our baptism. This is called a cincture. It's often designed, we have really good sacristans back here, they use the symbolism many ways, and we put it on there as a kind of like a figure 8 sideways, which is a sign of eternity because we're preparing ourselves for eternity. With this I say, gird me, O Lord, with the girdle of purity, and quench in me the fire of concupiscence, that the virtues of chastity and countenance may remain. I'm called to live a chaste celibate life. I'm called to control my passions, right, for the other. And so I need prayers to protect me with that. And I pray that every day, Lord, let me desire you. Let my passions, right, be tempered in such a way that my whole body, especially the strong passions that I have, right, are ordered towards you. And so it girds me like a belt of battle, kind of, you know how cops have their belt, right? And they have all their handcuffs and their spray and their guns in there. This is like the belt that I put on to protect me. Meekness is power contained. It's a virtue. So even with a cop, right? His power, a lot of the power, he has a gun, he has a weapon, he has things. It's actually a great virtue to contain that power, right? So if I don't have my powers contained, then I'm not very meek, I'm not very humble, I'm just erratic with my passions. But we're all called to like temper those passions. This is called the stole. It's a sign of my priestly identity. It's often sitting there in the sign of an M or Mary. As you think about this, as I get vested and I will sit in persona Christi, Cactus, I'll sit in the person of Christ. You know who clothed Jesus? It was Mary. His own mother would clothe him, just like your parents clothed you and stuff. And so what a great gift for me to be reminded that Mary is here preparing me for battle and clothing me as well. Place on me, O Lord, the stole of immortality, which was lost by our first parents. I, though unworthy, nevertheless may obtain eternal delight. So our parents, Adam and Eve, lost eternity, but the priest comes and offers sacrifice as a sign so that we may gain eternity back again. And this is called the chasuble. O Lord, who said, my yoke is easy and my burden light, grant that I might bear it, so as to take up, right, the sufferings of all the world. So the Lord bore the weight of the cross. He bore the yoke of sin and death. And so he asked us to bear that with him. So we put on this yoke, this thing that ties us to Christ, that does the labor and the work of the Lord. Like a yoke is something that's put on to an oxen or a cow, right, to pull the plow. Well, so it can cultivate the ground to make it fertile. I'm willing, I lay down my life to take on the yoke of Christ, the yoke of sin and suffering and death for you. And I represent you before God. And I take that in so that it can be cultivated in your heart so that you can receive the nutrients, right? That Christ will come and then water with his own body and blood, with the Eucharist, with the sacrament, with baptism, your own hearts, and transform you and then make you prepared for holiness. So we'll continue the Mass as normal. I just want to show you, I prepare every day. I say the Mass, and I say these prayers. You listen to the first reading, pay attention, and then maybe in the homily I'll say how you can do that in your own life as Christians as we prepare to battle all the battles we will continue to do so. And I also put on the mic because Moses, okay, I'm just joking, I was going to make up something about Moses.